Hey guys, I hope you're good. Welcome back to Lauren Levels Up. And today I have for you a video on my go-to look whenever I am traveling, particularly traveling by air. In the next few weeks, I'm off to Seville and then straight on to Paris, which I'm hugely excited about. If you do want to follow along with my travels, by the way, you can find the link to my Instagram in the description box below. So head on over there and follow if you do want to keep up with whatever I'm doing. So the look that I'm doing for you today is one that focuses on three things: comfort, hydration, and then simplicity. Comfort because whenever I'm traveling, particularly if it is a long haul trip, I don't want a full face of makeup and lashes that's just going to make me feel really uncomfortable and like my skin can't breathe. Second of all, hydration is a big one for me when I'm traveling, just because there's so much air conditioning and changes in temperature that you're exposed to that afterwards your skin can just be left feeling just drained of all moisture and can look really, really dull as a result. And then simplicity, just because when we're traveling, we want to keep our products to a minimum if we can. Particularly if I'm traveling long haul, I like to be able to put this look on, put it on in a carry-on bag so that I can then take it off if I want to sleep, and then it all fits into a compact little space that I can then reapply my face if I want to when I wake up in the morning. So without further ado, I will get into the look, starting off with my moisturiser. This is the Embryolisse Lait Creme Concentrate. This is a really, really nice A, base for makeup, but also B, provider of hydration, because this is a really, really nice creamy formulation that's perfect for any skin type really. I have one of these as part of my professional kit, and it really does work for everybody to really hydrate the skin. So we have that first of all. And now often when I'm traveling, particularly if I'm getting up really early in the morning, I find that my eyes are really, really just sensitive and puffy. So I will use the Ordinary caffeine solution, which is a really, really nice cooling formula that helps to tighten the skin, reduce any puffiness. So I've just used a couple of drops of that onto my fingers and then just smooth that all over the whole eye area. I can already feel how cooling that is. So pat that in. Now, next up, we want to provide not only SPF coverage, but also a little bit of coverage and glow to our actual skin. Now, I have been using in the past the Charlotte Tilbury Unisex Healthy Glow, which is basically, I think, just like a tinted moisturiser. But the problem with that is, A, it doesn't contain any SPF, and then secondly, any of you who follow Cruelty Free Kitty will know that there have been some question marks recently over the cruelty-free status of Charlotte Tilbury, which is really, really sad, but unfortunately, for that reason, I won't be including that product in my video today. I have found a really great alternative though, which is cruelty-free and does mean that we can have some SPF in there too. And that is literally just to mix in a nice pigmented foundation in with our SPF cream. So we're getting the sun protection and then a little bit of coverage and colour to our skin at the same time. So I'm going to be using my usual Thank You Pharma Sun Protect SPF 50, and I'm going to mix in a little bit of the Too Faced Born This Way foundation. And as you can see, this bottle is almost finished, but it's fine because for this look, we are going to be using the tiniest amount of this. So I'm going to start off by popping a pea-sized amount of the SPF on the back of my hand, and then just taking a tiny little bit of the foundation before I go ahead and blend that in together, maybe a little bit more. This foundation is actually in a shade that is slightly too dark for the skin on my face, but I don't know if you can see, but my face is quite a different colour to the rest of my body to start with, because I use SPF every day, and also just because I use chemical exfoliants as well. So it's not too much of an issue that the foundation is a slightly darker tone. So I'm just going to go ahead and in no particular order, just dot that all over my face, and then just with the last little bits, take them along my jawline, under my chin, under my eyes too, before I then go ahead and blend everything in completely. You do need to take some time just to do this, just purely because you have got a pigmented product mixed in with your moisturiser, so it does mean that if you just go ahead and kind of slapdash mix it in and rub it in as you normally would with a moisturiser, that's all well and good, but you need to make sure that the pigment is nice and evenly distributed all over the face. So I would recommend just checking this over with a mirror afterwards just to make sure, and I think we're looking pretty good. So that combination has not added a huge amount of coverage to the look, but it has added a tiny bit of coverage and just a nice natural glow to the skin, which is also now protected from from sun exposure. So the next thing that I want to do is just make sure there are no areas that I need to spot conceal, and there are a couple. First of all, those of you who know me already will know that any look for me involves a bit of concealer on the nose to cover up what I can only ever describe as the Rudolph effect. So the struggle is real, guys. If anybody else has this problem, then let me know in the comments, because I need to know I'm not alone, you know. So, and when I've finished that, I'm just going to pat that just to get it to set nicely. And then, sorry, I should have mentioned, by the way, this is Tarte Shape Tape in the shade Light Medium Sand. And I will also just pop a tiny bit of that under my eyes just to get rid of the last of my dark circles, which today are not too bad, but let's be honest, on a day when I'm getting up early for a flight, those babies are going to be there. So just smoothing that all underneath the eye area, making sure I'm getting into the inner corner, and whatever's left on my finger, take it up into the brow area, just for a bit of cohesiveness. A little bit on my chin, just because I've got the remnants of a few little breakouts there. And then I've got a couple of little areas here, just from some old acne scarring, so we'll just cover those up very, very quickly. I'm not being neat with this at all, because we want this to look nice and natural, and for the natural skin to show through underneath. Good. So we've now got a nice natural base going on, and I'm just going to set that in place. Now, if you have a drier skin, you could go ahead and skip this step, particularly if you're going to be exposed to air conditioning on a flight or something like that. But I am, because I do have sort of combination skin that's slightly sometimes oily as well, I'm just going to go ahead and set at least the centre of my face. To do that, I'm going to use the Hourglass Ambient Lighting powder, and I'm just using this brush here. For this particular makeup look, I try and keep everything as simple as possible. I am going to be using two brushes. This is the first, if I can keep it in my hand. And I'm just going to dip into that powder, onto my nose, under my eyes, around my chin, and then on the centre of my forehead as well. And just whatever's left on the brush, can take that into the other areas. I do want to do the tiniest bit of contouring, just because I will often do this to slim my face down, but you could totally skip this step if you wanted to. I'm going to be using the Bahama Mama powder from the Balm on the same brush again. Just going to take that very, very quickly on the sides of my forehead, underneath my cheekbones, blending upwards, underneath the jaw, blending it downwards, then just finishing off on the other side. And then whatever's left on the brush, I might just take that up onto my cheeks for a natural kind of glow there. Let's maybe just put the tiniest little bit down the sides of the nose. If you are going to contour your nose, even if it's just very quickly, make sure that you connect it up to your brow inner corner if you can. Just looks the most natural. At this point, I will pop some blush on just to make me look hopefully a little bit more alive. So the one that I am using today is this one actually. I've been using the mirror from the palette, and I will always do that whenever I am traveling, just to use the same mirror in one of the items that I have with me just to save on space. So this blush is a really gorgeous kind of pinky coral shade, and it's from Eyeglow in the shade Coral Crush. So we're going to go ahead and use the same brush, doing a slight little smile and just stippling that on to the apples of my cheeks for the most natural effect. Another little tip to make your makeup look more natural is just whatever's left on the brush once you've done your blush, just sweep a little bit over the bridge of your nose, and just visually it gives the impression of a more sun-kissed kind of look to everything. So that's us done for blush. At this point I will go ahead and just fill in my brows very, very lightly. If I'm traveling, I prefer them to look quite natural and undone, maybe even a little bit messy. So I am just going to be using a tiny little angle brush like this one from NYX and a dark brown, neutral shade brown powder. I just find that powder in the brows tends to look the most natural generally. And I'm not going to be doing this very neatly at all. Just filling in any areas where the hair is looking a little bit more sparse. Just making them a little bit more full and fluffy. When I get to the inner corner of the brow, I tend to use upward strokes just for the most natural effect. Comb them through afterwards. Same on the other side. Just going over any areas where we've got less hair. And then bring in the colour down into the body of the brow. And then by the time we get to that inner corner, again, upward strokes with hardly any product left on the brush there. So, almost done. I want to just make my eyes look a little bit more awake, which is always nice when we've woken up really, really early in the morning. So, I'm going to go ahead and curl my lashes. I'm not going to spend ages doing this like I normally would because I just want them to be a little bit lifted. And then pop my usual Too Faced Better Than Sex waterproof mascara onto them in a very, very light layer. I don't want loads of mascara on because mascara can irritate my eyes if I'm in lots of air conditioning or if I'm very, very tired. Just a very, very thin layer there. And then same again on the other side. Very quick curl. And then nice thin coat of mascara over the top just to keep them lifted, give them a bit of definition. If you wanted to as well, you could just tightline quickly, just to add some black kohl to the upper waterline, just to make them look a little bit thicker, but not a necessary step if you're trying to save time. Now for the very final step, sometimes I will literally just add some SPF lip balm to this look and be done with it, but on days when I do want to look a little bit more put together in the lip department, I will take my usual NYX Suede Matte Lip Liner in the shade Los Angeles, which is a really, really natural, neutral tone. So I'm not going to overline, just following the natural shape. Top and bottom. And slightly just fill in the lip colour as well, just with a very light touch. And because I have got some lip balm on my lips already, I can just go ahead and blend that in. And it just gives a really, really nice, natural flush to the lips. Nothing more. So this is basically where I would leave it. Normally when I'm traveling, I will just have my hair like piled on top of my head in a very messy bun. But today, just because I washed it, it is down. This will be the final look, guys. If you did enjoy this and you found it helpful, please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe if you want to see more from me. I will see you in the very near future in my next video. I upload every Wednesday, so I hope to see you in my next one. See you later then, guys, and happy traveling.